A function that can be written in the form y or f of x equals mx plus b is called a linear function because the graph is a straight line. Linear functions are, for example, f of x equals 2x plus 3, s of t equals 5t plus 7, y equals negative 3x plus 1, g of c equals c plus 3. Note that the exponents on each variable is 1. The equation y equals x squared plus 3x plus 4 is not a linear function because the exponent of the variable is 2 instead of 1 like in the previous examples. Also, the equation f of x equals 2 over x minus 1 is not a linear function because the variable is in the denominator. What about the function y equals the square root of x plus 3? Is this a linear function? Unfortunately not, because it contains a variable within a radical. So again, linear functions are only those kinds of functions which can be written in the form y or f of x equals mx plus b. We call this form of a linear function the slope-intercept form. The slope of the line is the coefficient m of x, and b is the y value where the line intersects the y-axis. Also called the Y-intercept. So when we look, for example, at this function, the line which is represented by this function has a slope of 2 because the coefficient of x is 2. The line intersects the y-axis at 3. Because the 3, which stands alone for itself, represents the y-intercept. And when we look at this function, the slope is negative 3 and the y-intercept is 1. The best way to plot the line using the slope and the y-intercept is to start with the y-intercept. So we start with 3. Now, what does it mean that a line has a slope of 2? A slope of 2 means that we go 1 unit to the right and 2 units up. By the way, we also call the 1 the run and the 2 the rise. Now we draw a line through these 2 points to plot the graph. Let's look at this function. Again, we start with the y-intercept, which is 1. So we know the line intersects the y-axis at 1. The slope is negative 3. So we go again 1 unit to the right and 3 units down. We go 3 units down because we have a negative sign in front of the 3. Now we draw a line through these 2 points and we are done. Let's do a quick recap. A function that can be written in the slope-intercept form is called a linear function. The exponents of the variable in a linear function are always 1, which we don't need to write. Because a variable raised to the power of 1 is always the variable itself. The m in the slope-intercept form represents the slope of the line. And the b represents the y-intercept of the line. The slope is negative when we have a negative sign in front of it, so in that case the line goes down. By the way, when the slope is 0, we have a horizontal line. The b, which is the y-intercept, tells us where the line intersects the y-axis. So when b is 3, for example, then the line intersects the y-axis at 3. By knowing m and b, we can easily plot the graph of a linear function. Start at the y-intercept, and after finding another point of the graph by going 1 unit to the right and m units up or down, draw a line through the y-intercept and the point which you found out with the slope. You can also graph the line by plugging in 2 different x values and get the corresponding y values, and then draw a line through those 2 points. But most of the time it's easier to plot the line using the slope and the y-intercept. More to come, so stay tuned.